Welcome to Wrestling Talk. This is Cookie King 73, and today we'll be doing fantasy booking for Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank because they're the same day, so I'm doing it twice. What fantasy booking is how I would book the show, what would start the show, the match order, who would win, and I'll just explain why I would have that person win. Okay, we're if you don't know the Worlds Collide card, we're not going to run through it, but we are the first to kick off this amazing show. I'm going to do Stephanie Valkyr and Lola Vice versus Chica Tormente and Deis La Cabrera. I don't know how to speak Spanish. So, the person who I would want to win this, let's say I was booking, is Stephanie Valkyr and Lola Vice in this tag team match. And the simple reason is because Stephanie is a new star on Monday Night Raw, and I think she needs as much momentum as she can going into the pay-per-view next week. Going to the next pay-per-view, which she's also in. The match that's going to be following that is LWO Dragon Lee, Cruz Del Toro, and Jaquim Wild versus Octagon Jr., Aerostar, and Mr. Iguana. The reason why this match is the second one is because I think it's one of the tag team matches that, it's one of the multi-tag team matches here, and I feel like they're going to do them first. Ultimately, I feel like the person who I'm going to, in my perfect world, they'll build up the LWO, and Dragon Lee, Cruz Del Toro, and Jaquim Wild will win. And maybe since AAA and WWE are together, maybe they join the LWO. That's my plans for this match. They lose on purpose and join the LWO. Or at least one of them decides to go to the LWO is how I would personally book this show. The reason why is I have plans for the LWO, which is going to lead to them turning on Rey Mysterio. And Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee having a match, mask versus mask. And they will have tag team gold, singles gold, and that's where I would go for this. Next match would, in my personal opinion, is how it should be. Would be Legado del Fantasma, Santos Escobar, Angel Garza, and Humberto Carrillo versus Dr. Wagner Jr., Pangoa, and Psycho Clown. I'm going to make Dr. Wagner, Pango, and Psycho Clown win only because I'm going to finally break up Legado del Fantasma and make Angel and Berto join the LWO as well. Because they basically turn on Santos Escobar in this match, and this will be a whole big storyline for the months coming up, just so you have something to, look forward to build the LWO up. The next match is for the NXT North American Champion, and it's Ethan Page versus Javon Evans. versus Ladaro Kid and versus Ray Phoenix. The person I will have win this is hear me out. Javon Evans. I just feel like he needs to have a championship run in NXT for a little bit, and I feel like Ethan Page doesn't need to hold the title long because I will be calling him up, and he'll be starting a faction, kind of like the Nexus, with people who they think are too good for NXT, or people who have been there for a very long time. So I'm thinking of like maybe the faction would include Ethan Page, Ricky Saints, Andrew Chase, Tony D'Angelo joins. And even former NXT stars even one former NXT star joins, Carmelo Hayes. All of them joined forces as this Nexus type group. And this starts because Javon Evans beats Ethan Page, so he gets called up to the main roster, you know? Next is the main event, which is for the AAA Mega Championship, which is their world title. Valkingo versus Chad Gable. And I'm going to have Chad Gable win this, because I have plans for him at Money in the Bank when he is El Grande Americano. Because that's who El Grande Americano actually is. So, I think, in my humble opinion, Chad Gable's gonna win this. So he could have this, like, big run in Mexico and learn more about Lucha Libre and stuff. Because that's an important part of the El Grande Americano and Chad Gable gimmick. I feel like this would be the perfect opportunity for him to have maybe at least a year title run with the AAA Championship. And because WWE owns AAA, I feel like Valkingo is not good. I feel like Chad Gable winning the title is important for one thing. And I'll tell you next. So now, it's important for the story I'm going to tell, which I will tell you as officially, we're going to start with the Money in the Bank part of this video, which is a fantasy booking. Okay. The match that would start the show off is Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch. And I already said what the stipulation to this match is. Becky Lynch, she's not allowed to challenge for the title as long as Lyra Valkyria is champion. And then, Lyra has to raise Becky Lynch's hand if she loses. I feel like Becky Lynch is going to win this. But here's what's going to happen. She's going to win this because I have plans for the Women's Intercontinental title at SummerSlam. I'm going to do Becky Lynch versus Bayley at SummerSlam, and that's going to be a key match. And maybe they do a I Quit match or a Last Woman Standing or something. That will be the ultimate plan for me here of why I want Becky Lynch to win. Okay. The match that will be next is the Women's Money in the Bank, which is Alexa Bliss versus Roxanne Perez versus Rhea Ripley versus Julia versus Naomi versus Stephanie Vaquer. And the person I would book to win this is Roxanne Perez. Hear me out. Roxanne Perez is really talented, and I feel like the reason why I want to give this to Roxanne Perez is because I want her to cash in and fail. I feel like having one of the younger women do it compared to like if Rhea Ripley or someone who's not new losing the first ever losing the cash in, she will lose the cash in match, but she will win the title later on in the year. That would be my plan for her, to have a little bit of redemption at SummerSlam against Io Sky, because that's the person she's going to cash in against. The next match following that, I know it will be bad to have 2 Money in the Bank matches right in a row, but the men's Money in the Bank match will be next, and it will be Solo Sikoa versus LA Knight versus Penta versus Seth Rollins versus Andrade versus El Grande Americano. And I have a special plan for this match, and I'm going to remember how I told you Chad Gable's winning the title, the AAA title. Here's what: El Grande Americano is going to be winning this Money in the Bank ladder match. Mostly because Solo's going to have people interfering, costing people the match. Seth Rollins is going to have people interfering. There's going to be people interfering so Seth Rollins doesn't win. And it's going to give El Grande Americano the opportunity to strike. This is important for later on in the show. This is important for later on in the show. And for the story we're going to tell with El Grande Americano and Chad Gable. Okay. The next match is the main event, and it is Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, who is the World Heavyweight Champion, versus John Cena, the WWE Champion, and Logan Paul. Now, the first thing I'm going to say here is Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso win. And then and then John Cena and Logan Paul attack him. They attack both of them. They brutally beat Jey Uso. And El Grande Americano comes in, cashes in his contract on Jey Uso. And becomes the new World Heavyweight Champion. John Cena wants to ruin wrestling, and giving El Grande Americano the World Heavyweight title would definitely ruin wrestling for some people, because now you have Chad Gable as 2 world champions, basically, and the Speed Champion, and basically John Cena did this to ruin wrestling, and Chad Gable holds the AA title a lot longer than he does the World Heavyweight Championship. Chad Gable holds the World Heavyweight Championship to at least, I'm going to give him till Survivor Series, or and then he loses the title. And that's ultimately how he's going to lose it. Goodbye.